Hey guys, what's going on? Megan here. This is the video on why you need a big appetite to get swole. The importance of a big ass appetite. Everybody knows, you gotta eat big to get big, all that shit. Everybody knows that, you gotta eat a lot to put on muscle, but it's not as easy as it fucking sounds, right? You gotta fucking, you can't eat as much every single day consistently if your appetite just sucks ass, right? I told you guys the story. When I started training, I was around 150 pounds, right? I went up to 158, couldn't break that, kept force feeding myself, got to 160-ish, and then I figured that was gonna be the biggest I was ever gonna be until I fucking died, because I was like, man, I can't eat any more than that. Until I started tweaking and figuring out ways to increase my appetite, full body workout, increase my appetite, carb backloading, all those things, that I had to, supplementing with zinc. I explained that, how that allowed me to put on more food. I started drinking Ensure. I had to do some of the most extreme shit you could think about just to put on size because my appetite was shit. I loved to train. I would train a lot. I would do everything else. I would try to get a decent amount of sleep, but the gains were not coming until I started eating a lot, guys. I mean, it sounds simple. Everybody knows this by now, but it's very people are very it's funny when I get messages to show you how people underrate the importance of food. Almost every time when somebody complains about not putting on size, it's always food. Because I always ask them, I'm like, how much do you eat? They're like, oh, I eat enough. But I'm like, no, like, quantify that. How much do you eat? And they're like, oh yeah, I eat breakfast, I go to the gym, take a post-workout shake, then I eat my dinner and I go to sleep. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's gonna put size on you when you're a beginner. But once your body realizes that, it needs extra calories to maintain the muscle that it already has, and it needs extra calories to put on more muscle on top of that, and it needs more calories to fuel your other bodily functions, your size is not gonna go up. You need to eat a lot to put on size, guys. I know it sounds, I know you want to hear some new shit, but it's really all it boils down to. Everyone that I've known who put on a lot of muscle naturally, right? All the natty guys that I know who put on a lot of muscle in a short period of time, one thing they had in common, the one thing they had in common, even if you remove everything else, was they had a big appetite. Think about it. Look at the friends of yours who naturally put on muscle really fast. We go, oh, they have good genetics, they put on muscle fast. I guarantee you they eat like a motherfucker, right? Marco eats a fucking lot. Hansa eats a, man, don't even get me started on him, man. He eats a fucking lot. I remember Toby back in, in college, when we first started, he eats a whole lot. He puts on muscle like crazy. When I went to Texas to collab with Chris Jones, it blew my mind. You guys don't, I think I made a video where I explained it before. If you think Chris eats a lot, wait till you actually see him in person, like in a buffet, man. Eats a whole lot. He puts on, puts on muscle quickly. You got, who else? Well, I mean, the list goes on, man. Everyone that I know who puts on muscle naturally and like rapidly has a big appetite. You can't separate the two, And once again, I didn't start putting on size. You don't go from 160 to 220, in a short amount of time without finding a way to fix your appetite problem, And like I said, I started supplementing with the vitamins and minerals I was deficient in. I started optimizing my hormone levels. Remember, believe it or not, testosterone increases appetite. I keep telling you guys, man, every day you're gonna find out some new shit that testosterone does. It's insane. All these steroid motherfuckers who think they don't have such a big advantage. Well, that's one of the advantages of steroids. It increases your appetite. You have so yeah, optimize my hormones. I had to start taking zinc and other supplements and vitamins and minerals. I started taking a lot of liquid meals, I started doing full body because that, of course, increased your appetite, not just because of the hormonal change in your body, but, the demand for energy is so high. I was doing sprints. I mean, just do all these things to try to jack up your appetite. The more food you take, you'll be amazed. You remember I made a video about the 3 things you need for muscle growth, the 3 simple things, the growth factors, IGF-1, the enzymes, mTOR, testosterone, myostatin, all those different things, genes, proteins, hormones that correlate with growth. That was 1. Number 2 was the amino acids. You can't build muscle without the amino acids. It's like building a house without bricks. And number 3 was ATP, energy, right? All those 3 things are correlated with food. If you eat enough food, you're gonna get enough protein. Boom, amino acid. You eat enough food, you're gonna get enough energy, ATP, right? Your body can't grow for shit without energy, right? You need to pay the workers to do work. And your body will not produce enough IGF-1 if you don't have enough food, enough growth hormone, enough, all these growth factors need, you need to be somewhat above maintenance. It's a tricky term, but You get the point. So food is the thing that's the highest, has the highest correlation with muscle growth. Highest correlation. Even has a higher correlation with growth than training itself. Because training only affects really the growth factors, and that's pretty much it. You know, yeah, it allows your body to use amino acids a bit more, but directly training only affects the growth factor. So that's 1/3. That's 30% of the equation. You know, training is only going to contribute really 30% of the equation. You know, but food is 100% of the equation. So guys, you just need to eat. I look at my messages. You know, every time it's a question about size, most often than not, it's just food. It's not training. Most of y'all train hard, you know, you just don't fucking eat a lot. And I hate to make videos about this because it's like beating a dead horse, because who hasn't talked about the importance of food? But it is so underrated. People still ask me that they're trying to put on size when there's a problem with their food intake. You can't avoid it, guys. You need to eat, all right? In fact, I'm gonna make a video that you guys are gonna love about lines and, you know, muscle mass and things like that. It's gonna blow your mind. You guys know I'm a fucking geek. I research everything when it comes to muscle growth. I even go into the animal kingdom and shit. But stay tuned for that. All right, guys. So yeah, just eat. Please, just eat, man. If you have an appetite problem, do one of the things I mentioned. Increase your appetite, you know, and take more liquid meals. Take your vitamins and minerals, all those things. Optimize your hormones. You know, that's gonna help you eat a lot. You know, do some HIIT. Do some full body, you know, workouts every now and then, you know. So anything that's gonna jack up your appetite, it's gonna help you take in more food, and you'd be amazed at how much you grow. All right, guys, I'm out of here, and stay tuned for the next videos. Comment below if I forgot something. If you have more questions, comment. Share your stories in the comment section. If you were able to increase your appetite, you know, share your story. Somebody might read that shit and fucking learn something. All right, out of here. Other segments. So go in the comment section and just vote on what you think is your most requested topic, and then obviously the one that has the most likes are the ones that are gonna prioritize. In case, let's say